Well, first things first, my thoughts, prayers are with Coach Hester and his family in Houston and Coach Fritz. I mean, that's a really tough thing that they're having to go through as a program. And, I have a family member battling the same thing. And the fact that that team really fought for him shows a lot about, who he was to that program, that organization, and hearing their players' comments about Coach Hester. I mean, that's why you do this. So shout out to him, his family, and our thoughts are with you. On that same kind of conversation, sad day for me yesterday. Coach Regal, my high school head coach, came in and said he needs to take a medical leave of absence, just get himself right. He's been dealing with some things for quite a few years now, and it's just kind of come to a head where he's got to, get right and get healthy. I told him, however long that is, it is. And whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 week, a month, a year, 6 weeks, whenever you feel ready again, let's have a conversation and go from there. But yeah, that was definitely not a fun conversation. For me to have a guy that is a key reason that I'm here. So thoughts and prayers with him and his family as well as he, tries to get back on track and start to feel better.
Hi, Kenny Hood, Rubino Devil's Digest. This year and also last year, too, you and the team have done a good job of bouncing back from losses. Does the message need to be consistent in order to do that, or really there's a different process that has to take place after each and every loss, because each and every loss obviously reveals different aspects?
Yeah, I think it's consistent. The process of growth is consistent, right? Like I've said all along, it's not linear. Nobody grows like this, right? You grow like this, right? And then you just hope at the end you're higher than where you started, right? When you take over something. So I definitely think the growth is there. Sometimes it doesn't show, and sometimes the growth isn't linear, and those are the days that suck, are when you have the down moments and the down days. But you've got to be able to respond from that and think big picture. So yes, it is pretty much the same process. You do have to potentially message things differently, or what is the goal, or how do we improve is going to be different every week. And in terms of that process, but in terms of the messaging of like what you think, there's only one way to get better, and it's to work hard and take ownership for things and try to improve. If there's a pill, let me know. That'd be awesome. If you can just sit on your couch and then magically be really, really good at something, that'd be great.
Chris, and then Damon, and then
Chris Cartman, Son of a Source. I know it's a sensitive subject, Kenny, but had you been having any sort of ongoing dialogue with Charlie, or was this kind of a surprise? I know you said that it's been years long that he's had some issues, and how will this shape or impact special teams moving forward?
Yeah, nothing about that other than like, hey, how you doing? You doing well? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Just casual, what you always do for a friend, mentor, stuff like that, checking on them. And in terms of how we're going to move forward, Jack Nudo is going to kind of take the lead there. I'm going to be involved. I was way more involved, last week, just because that's my role, is I kind of float around from that perspective. And then Coach Waz, who has experience being a special teams coordinator in the past, is also going to be very, very involved in the special teams underneath Jack. So I think we have a team together to go, replace him. He did a lot. The hard part is not replacing the football. Football is football. The hard part is replacing the staff dynamics of who are people going to complain to now, right? It's the natural human nature, right? Not everybody likes everything we do. Like, who do they go to complain to? Who takes things off of my plate before they hit there? Who can, there's so many more layers to it than what the people see. Coach Regal was an instrumental part in taking a program that was on life support and bringing them to the highest it's been in decades. And sometimes people don't take that, into account, the things that he did to get us to that point.
And then when you reviewed the special teams from the game, some of the penalties and other issues, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, penalties are, we're in chase mode too many times. We're giving officials opportunities to throw flags, and that's how I looked at it with our guys. Whether I agree, disagree, that's irrelevant. if we get in chase mode too many times, we're opening ourselves up. So we're going to really focus on not being in chase mode this week, improving that aspect. Obviously we got to punt, kick, snap, all the details of special teams we got to improve on. But first kickoff, we go down, pin them inside the 25. Unfortunately, we didn't have another kickoff to the fourth quarter, pinned them inside the 25. Third kickoff, out of bounds. So there was an improvement there. You could see it, by the cover units. Punt was better, right? No massive punts given up. We covered pretty well. We put them inside the 15 a few times, so that was a positive. PBR, same deal. We got into chase mode. The same thing that happened on kickoff return was the same thing that happened on punt return. So both of our return units, penalties were chase mode penalties, which we got to coach better. So I've been, we met about that today as a team to not be in chase mode. Whether we hit somebody or not, it just looks bad. And that's, causing flags. So we got to clean that up. Other than that, we actually had 2 positive punt returns in the game, which we haven't had positive punt returns for a while. We had 2 positive. They just got negated, which was bad. And then, we got to just make sure we don't field punts inside our 5. That's part of it. Some of this stuff is when young guys play, they're going to learn. So some of it's like, hey, this is the first time you've done it. All right, that's fine. Let's not do it again. Great. Zach's a guy for us who's done such a great job growing up, maturing, and gaining trust in this program. I got the utmost trust in him back there, making decisions, him on offense. He's really grown. He's one of the most improved players on our team, in my opinion.
Damon, Doug, and Doug.
Coach Damon Allred, Arizona Sports. You mentioned when he first came on the staff about Jack Nudo's background locally and his dad and what he's done. But in the months that he's been on staff, what have you seen him bring to the unit, and what do you think that this could bring?
Yeah, he's really sharp, smart guy. Obviously, he was a special teams coordinator, the head of special teams last year. And he's just a really sharp guy, good energy, good ideas. So I'm excited to see, what he can do. I think it's a good opportunity for him to, really see what he can do. And I think having Waz there, somebody who's done it before as well, along the way with him is another positive. Then obviously, my role is to, kind of help wherever I think we need help. So, my involvement last week is going to continue on the field at a high level and go from there and try to just keep getting better.
Doug, Blake, Max.
Wow.
That's so impressive, Jeremy. So impressive. Doug Franz Unplugged podcast. As soon as if a unit's struggling and a coach steps down, there's immediate speculation. So I'll just ask. If you have the best special teams unit in college football, is Charlie Ragle stepping down for health reasons?
I don't know. It just depends. This is a stressful job. So I couldn't tell you the answer to that. That'd be a question for him. I know right now it's not the best thing for his health, and it's sad to say because he, like I said, he had so much more value than what people see on a Saturday night. There is a reason why, a program on life support got turned to have really high expectations, and that's what it should have. And he was an absolute vital piece to that, whether it was in the community, whether it was with our players, whether it was managing coaches that don't think we should tackle, right? Have a different opinion, don't like our practice structure, like it. His ability to get everybody on the same page and prevent problems from escalating is and staff morale is something that you can't put in words. And he was instrumental to be 5-3 right now, which a lot of teams would want to be, and to what we did last year. And it's weird coming in the office without him. I've never been a head coach without him right there next to my office. So that is a little bit different, and I think it's going to be an adjustment for everybody.
And that Nick Saban ruined it for everyone when he said, "I'm not going to be the Alabama head coach." But your picture's on the top of an Athletic article today speculating of LSU and Penn State. So have you told your agent, don't listen to anybody, don't answer? Do you listen? Where's your role in future openings?
I'm trying to win as many games as I can here. That is my number one focus, is our players, our football team, everything about us. That's simple. I am so singularly focused on us to win football games, to become a better football team, this season. Like that's my singular focus.
And lastly, did you text Scat or did you call Scat or give us a relationship
Yeah,
update on you and Scat?
I called Scat. He didn't answer, and then he called back, and I didn't have my phone, and then he went into surgery, and then we exchanged some conversation this morning. I'm not going to go into that, but really sad deal. That dude's just worked his butt off his entire life to get to where he's at. But it's a great example of if you treat people well, regardless of how he rehabs and regardless of his future, he's going to be successful based off how he treated people, the passion he played the game through football in 10 years and 15 years. That dude has built a brand for himself that's sustainable, and it's unfortunate what happened to him, but his success in life, is still going to be there.
Thanks.
Doug, Blake, Max, Julia.
Hi, Kenny. Doug Haller with The Athletic. I wanted to just follow up on what Doug F. just asked. When your name is attached to jobs, do you find that flattering of what you've accomplished, or do you find it distracting of what you're trying to build?
I find it nothing, to be honest. It's useless. Like in this, I told our guys today, we live, I've said it before, in a reality show where everybody in here is the main character or not the character, right? And it's last year, okay, we're the sleeping person and it's a great story. Wow, what a great twist to the show, right? Awesome. This year, it's put them on a pedestal and we're going to make somebody fall and somebody's got to fail. Everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's trying to win. Right? Not everybody can win. That's why college football is chaotic and crazy, because everybody expects everybody to go undefeated. Everybody expects everybody to win their conference. It's impossible. It's a math problem that can't possibly be done. So I tell our guys, if you get lost in people making you the reality show, this thing's going to be miserable for you as a player, because it's not all real. It's not. What's real is what's in our building. So I am so singularly focused on what is in our building. Nothing is real out there. It's all what gets clicks, what sells, what creates the best reality show in college football in the market you're in. So you better not get lost in the show, and you better be who you are and be grounded. So that was my message to the team. Was that exact thing I just told you all, because I think it's true. It's sad, it's comical, it's all of it wrapped into one. Just get better today and see what happens tomorrow.
So why do you think loyalty is so questioned in this profession?
Because it's both ways. People get fired as quick as they get hired. So, it's how can people hate coaches as quickly as they love coaches? So I think it's a just part of it is it's a volatile world where everybody wants to be first. And it's, to be honest, like Ricky Bobby said it best. Like, if you're not first, you're last in this thing. And I think that's why it's such a volatile profession, is everybody expects everybody to be first. And if you're not first, you're last and you get fired. So when you are first, well, how do I stay first? Or what do I got to do to stay first, right? Because eventually you're probably going to be last, right? It's historically over time. And then the key is, how do you just not bottom out? And I think I've said that from the beginning. The goal is to create sustainability. The goal is to create a standard and to where your valleys are higher than they've ever been. The highs are going to happen when they happen, right? How do you create a program that is, when you're at the low, it's still pretty dang good. When you're not exceeding or hitting expectations, it's still pretty dang good. That is the challenge, is to not go from here to there. If you can go from here to there, and then go there, then go there, then there, then all good. You just can't go there. And I think, that's why it's so volatile, is everybody's volatile. It's not just the coaches, fans, everybody's volatile in this deal. We're a reality show, right?
Blake, Max, Julia, Craig.
Hey, Kenny, Blake Neiman, Fox 10 News. With this being a rematch of last year's Big 12 championship, maybe looking back some of that film from that game, has that brought out any emotions or anything, just looking back at that championship game?
No. I mean, I wish it did. It really doesn't. No.
So I guess then what is kind of the view now as going into a rematch of that game? how does the team differ from Iowa State's point of view?
Yeah, I mean, they're dinged up like we're dinged up. They played an unbelievable football game last week. The score was not a reflection of the football game that they played at all. I mean, I thought they, in a lot of ways, played their best football game of the year last week. Turnovers just kill you. But they played very, very good football. They easily could have won that game. So I think for our guys, it's understanding we're going to face a team that, is going to be, one, angry from what happened last year. And this was a game that, they've had circled for a while. And then, two, hungry because they just played a really, really good football game and still didn't win, but they played way good enough to win. So and we're on the road. They've lost, I think, one home game, and they're like us. They're very good at winning at home. Their first loss at home was last week. So a team that doesn't lose at home, that just lost at home, that's playing a team they played last year in the championship, that has a really good head coach, that has a returning quarterback, that has the same record as us. I mean, it's almost like we're playing ourselves.
Hey, Kenny, Beck here. Max Pitt, Walter Cronkite Sports Network. First things first, before I get to the second part of my question, any updates on injuries from Saturday that we at least know of right now, or is Wednesday going to be?
Yeah, I'm going to wait till Wednesday to comment on any of that injury stuff this week.
Okay, sounds good. And then secondly, most importantly, if potentially there are continued absences from Saturday, what was your necessarily confidence in how the receiving group necessarily played in comparison to what maybe fans expected, with Malik playing probably the best game of his time that he's been here at ASU? What can you say about that receiving group outside of Jordan, if
Yeah, I have no clue what the fans expected, so I can't answer that part. I can say I was very happy with how Malik played. I was very happy with how Moss, made a few plays out there. So I was very happy with how those guys played in the football. I was very happy with how Jeff played, leading us. Got a first down, moved down the field a little bit, on the first drive, and then at the end of the game, drove down the field and scored a touchdown. So I was happy. I was pretty happy with that group, to be honest. Now, you can be happy with a group and still be, unhappy that, what the best wideout in the country is not playing for you, right? That's also, you can have both, right? So that's not anything. I mean, having Jordan is an absolute game changer. That's why he's going to be a first-round draft pick. And anytime you lose, unfortunately for us, we've been down, 4 of our starters, three for the majority, or last week, or 3 starters all year, 3 of our top probably 5 guys on offense, which is, hard to overcome. And I think there's been moments where we've overcome it, and then moments where it's bit us in the butt. We just got to get in a rhythm. And it's just difficult because the pieces are changing every week. One week it's no Sam, one week it's no Jordan, one week it's half Sam. No Jordan. It's like, okay, we got to figure this out here. And that's our job as a staff. And, I was just proud of the guys last week. We're down 24-0. It shouldn't be 24-0, but it was. And all of a sudden, we have the ball down 8. Not many teams would continue to fight like that. And I think that shows the culture that we have. It goes back to that, how low is the valley. I think that kind of showed it there.
Hey, Coach. Julia Lopez, Arizona's family. Kenny, obviously, Jesus Gomez has one of the toughest positions out there when it comes to the mental game. Just how do you keep his confidence up when he has a bad game?
Yeah, I have he made 4 kicks, which helped us beat the number 7 team in the country last year when we were in the Castle, our last game. Well, then now we're back in the outhouse. Like, that's part of it. So, I mean, you just can't I have the utmost confidence in him. It's never just one guy. It's the whole operation. It's the whole team. It's everything. So we got to, go back to work. But I got the utmost confidence in him making kicks.
Kenny back here, Craig Fouye, ABC 15. Hey, how do you account for going 3 quarters and not scoring a single point?
Well, yeah, I mean, 2 times, missed easy, for a variety of reasons. And then we had a turnover on the 50-yard line driving down the field. So, it wasn't like we were just going 3 and out. Right. We drove 50 yards and then didn't get any points. Then we went 3 and out, right? Then we drove 40 yards, 35 yards, and on a first down, we have a fumble. Unfortunate, right? We're bound. We've been really good, knock on wood, turnover ratio. We're bound to turn the football over. We did. Then we drive again the length of the field, right? And then we have a 2-minute drill, right, which ends the drive. So I think it's just, then we do that again in the second half. We have a touchdown called back. So it's not, like I say, it's never, you can't look at the end result and see it, right? The unfortunate thing is, for some reason or not, we're still not getting it done scoring points, even when we're having some of the success. I mean, we had 440 yards of offense and didn't score in the first 3 quarters. That's just mind-blowing, right? And it's just a combination of things. I wish I could tell you it was one thing. It's just a combination of things causing us the offense offsides, in prior games. Now an illegal shift, like 7 points. We had a bad snap. Okay, then another game we had a bad block, 6 points. It's like we got to just, I'm not doing a good enough job getting points on the board. We got to be better at getting the points, which is the goal of the game.
And then a quick follow-up, Kenny, just in terms of the emotional win a week ago, the emotional loss last Saturday. How's the team doing today? How are the players?
Yeah, I mean, you don't feel good, that's for sure. But like I told them, if you can't respond, right, you're going to struggle regardless of what you do in life. Like, you've got to be able to flush something, good or bad, and get back to it. And it's way harder to flush something in today's day and age than it used to be, right? So you got to be able to flush it and move on. It goes back to that reality show comparison. It's like, you can't get lost in it. How do you get better? You go back to work. Simple.
Kenny, after Utah, you said you wanted to practice more physically, but then last week, due to injuries, several of your starters weren't able to really do much. So can you just speak to the challenges of deciding about playing, not playing guys, moving guys around, what you do in these situations?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a challenge. We still practiced physical. I thought we had a good week of practice. I really did. We just couldn't practice some guys. They were completely questionable up until game day, and those guys that we ended up playing, they've earned the right to play if they feel good enough on game day. So that is a definite challenge. We are banged up, but that's the nature of it. Last year we stayed healthy. This year we're banged up. That's part of it. It's part of the game. So it's definitely challenging to balance that physicality and, also getting the guys in the field that deserve, based off what they've done here to play. That is 100% a challenge.
How much do you think that impacts just sharpness or chemistry on the field, especially when you're going up against like another mobile quarterback with those +1 runs?
Yeah, I tell coaches all the time, like, if you don't think practicing, if you think this guy should play without practicing, well, we're devaluing practice. So because he is playing, that's the respect for the player. We think he's that good to do that, but it should affect their ability to play to their optimum level, right? There's a reason everybody practices. It's not, just to say we practice. It's to be able to perform at the highest level. So it is difficult for guys to play and play at their highest level when they're not practicing. That's just difficult. It's just challenging. But I would still, those guys have earned the right, and they're really, really good football players. Unfortunately, this week, Rouser will be out the first half of the game due to the targeting call. So that's another layer. It's not an injury, but another layer of who's getting reps where in practice versus where they play in the game. And maybe, Montana has to play boundary safety, but then also have to play free based off the game. So it does create, it's kind of like a half injury there.
Will you go into obviously not your game plan itself, but how you prepare for the week due to injuries, especially offensively? When you've got a top 5 pick in the draft, you're going to want to use him. Do you practice on the week as if he's playing and then change your play calls during the week? Do you practice like you don't have him? How do you manage injuries game plan wise?
I think it depends on the injury, depends on the player, depends on the position. A guy like Jordan, you can create an entire plan around him being singled, right? So I do think knowing if he's playing or not is important. Your quarterback, that's pretty important to know if they're playing or not. Defensive backs, can we cover them in man? Can we not? Who do we want to blitz? Who do we not want to blitz? Can they play these combo coverages? Can they not? That's important. And those become challenging things. But that's your job as a coach, is to be able to manage challenging situations. And like I said, that's our job, is to figure it out. And we got to figure it out, and we got a really good game, versus a really good opponent on the road. So we got to find a way.
Quick follow-up involving the Rouser question that Chris brought up. I remember, it may seem like forever ago, but the Rouser unsportsmanlike last year at Texas Tech was kind of like his first kind of incident necessarily in game that may have possibly cost you guys. You mentioned even after that game how that was a pivotal moment in the game. This was kind of the first incident maybe since then where his emotions kind of maybe got the best of him. What conversations have you at least had with him about what necessarily he needs to do at least better at when it comes to maybe maintaining his emotions, maybe continuing
That
to
was
stay
not
focused
an
in the game?
emotional penalty at all.
No?
His targeting was not emotional at all. We challenged it. They disagreed with me. It was absolutely not. He's making a rugby tackle. It wasn't even head-on collision. He was crossing the face of the player and bent over to tackle him while crossing face like this. And because he bent over to tackle him and the quarterback lowered himself, the crown of the helmet made forcible conduct to their player's head. It really didn't even stop their runner from moving forward. It wasn't the guy who made the tackle on the play. It was just, by definition, forcible conduct with the crown of the helmet, which is unfortunate. It was one of the stranger targeting calls I've ever seen. But like I said, I appealed it. I understand why they called it completely. It was just unfortunate for him.
So you view him as two very different situations?
Not even close to the same. I mean, there was no male intent or bad intent there at all by him in any way, shape, or form. I mean, like I said, that was sideline tackle. Very strange. Like, that was the first time I've seen a targeting call like that in that manner.
Hey, Kenny, Jacob Brooks, Sun Devil Source. You've talked about in the past when dealing with player injuries that you need to put the person first and not the players. You spend this week trying to navigate where to go with guys like JT or Sam. How much do you think about how a potential re-aggravation could hurt their future, and how much do you think they think about that when it factors into your decision?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I think about the best interest of the player. When Sam got up in the first quarter, like, he got up, he's like, I'm going back in. I'm like, no, you're not. You're going to the locker room. Right? Now, because that's what Sam wanted. Sam was like, no, I'm fine. I got my adrenaline. I'm going back. And no, you're going to the locker room. Right? You're going to go get checked out. We're going to go get x-rays. We're going to go do whatever we can do to make sure that we've done everything we can, not just going off your emotions. So, but Sam's such a competitor. So, yeah, when you have really competitive people, it is our job as a medical team, and to make sure that, they're playing when it's safe.
And you talked about after the loss how you guys are in a similar spot to where you were last year before you guys went on that run with JT and Sam dealing with injuries. How much do you think that could or should affect how people maybe view the losses that you guys already have down the road?
Yeah, I don't really care. Like I said, I'm not going to get lost in the reality show. I'm going to stay singularly focused on the guys that are going to play in Ames and how do we play our best football game on the road and be our very best. Like, that is, I don't look at all that stuff. So it's very hard for me to answer some of those questions because I don't. I have somebody whose job is to tell me very important information that's out there, if there is something out there, so I don't have to look at it. Right? So, yeah, I mean, I think that's the key for me because I do have to have a footprint or a heartbeat on what's happening so I can, coach our players because unfortunately they look at it, right? But I don't go down those rabbit holes, so it's really hard for me to answer the whole anything but what helps our football team.
Coach Michael Caratino, Pitchfork Lunch. The defensive line, I mean, obviously the Utah game, I know it was tough, made adjustments, but they've been physical and disciplined all year. From the Utah game going into this game, obviously Houston talked about their big line. How do you feel after watching the film that the defensive line played throughout the game?
Yeah, I thought they played, pretty well for the most part. We missed a few stunts and stuff like that, where they were locking us out. And they did good. You got to give them credit, too. They were locking our ends out a few times when we should have crossed space. But that's just the game of football. But I thought they played pretty well. The direct running back runs we defended well, I think, for about almost 3 yards a carry, which is good run defense. They were dedicated to +1 quarterback runs, about 18, call it 19 if you want, ish, direct quarterback runs in the football game, and he went up for over 100 yards. And that was where, we as a staff, myself, have to do a better job when teams are just going to run quarterback direct runs. How are we going to do to balance that out and to gain a hat in the fit? But I thought our players on defense did a really good job in our D-line, stopping traditional runs. It's just those +1 runs when you're a single-eye defense. Everybody knows, the math problem. If we're not winning an extra human being, right, then you're short a person. So if you're tying too much, or even if you're winning by just a little bit, that's not enough to gain the hat. So we just got to do a better job as a staff in those settings. Awesome. Thank y'all.